Vivid and the Wolf, Chapter 4. You'll dream about me too. I'll see to it, Wolfgal replied. And my dreams will be really sexy all the time. I'll make you dizzy with happiness. Hiro nodded, feeling himself start to get hot. She looked at him with her head cocked to the side. Do you like me more than Emmy, or do you just get turned on by the mask? She asked. I like you both very much, and I also seem to have a mask fetish, Hiro admitted. Hmm, but do you like me more? I barely know you, Wolfgal. You're brand new. Wolfgal shrugged. Emmy removed her mask. I can see out of it very easily. It's comfortable. I think I got it perfect on my second try. Can I see the prototype? Hiro asked. Oh no, I destroyed it. For strategic voodoo purposes. Hiro chose to just accept that without further questions. Emmy left him sitting on her bed without another word. Hiro thought of reading her diary again, but stomped on that thought. He shouldn't have read her diary a first time. A gentleman does not do things like that. Emmy returned with a bottle of water. Her robe was loose now and was showing skin. She swayed into the room. She made the act of offering him water a seduction. Hiro accepted the bottle and sipped. It tasted like strawberries. I have strawberry wine, too, if you'd like some, she said in a soft voice. Were you planning on going back? Hiro asked. Once I got you on my bed, I decided I didn't care about the Matsuri, Emmy explained. Do you like strawberry wine? He asked. I've never tried it. Do you want that to be another first for us? He sipped the flavored water while he thought, and he nodded. Let's watch some movies while we drink, Hiro suggested. Emmy nodded and left the room again. Hiro pulled off his hoppy jacket. Emmy returned carrying a glass bottle and some video discs. I have picked Ashura's Realm, How to Catch a Virgin Ghost, and Bunraku, Emmy said. Each of them touches my emotions and excites me. Hiro picked Ashura's Realm first. It was a movie about a retired demon hunter and some people trying to resurrect a demon that he had killed before, and had loved as well. Hiro loved it, especially while also touching and kissing Emmy. Hiro thought the strawberry wine tasted good, but Emmy really loved it. She was crying for the last 10 or so minutes of the movie, and that touched Hiro too. Emmy wiped her eyes with a paper tissue. I'm glad we both love that film, she said. I might have had to stop being in love with you. Hiro chuckled, and he laughed at the next movie, which was How to Catch a Virgin Ghost, and he was excited by the action scenes in Bunraku. Hiro-chan, it won't be dark enough for the fireworks for another hour or three, Emmy complained. Hiro noticed that the wine bottle was empty, and he then noticed he was feeling tipsy. That's okay, Emmy, he said. Well, I really want to do it, but I want it to be right. Be strong. We can wait, he said. Okay, Hiro-chan. While we wait, let me tell you a scary story. And Emmy told him a story about a samurai who takes shelter in an unfamiliar house one night. His hostess hides her face like a flirt, and he finally grabs her to get a good look, and she had no face, smooth like an egg. He ran away and found a night watchman on patrol. He explained what had happened while walking behind the watchman. guided by the light of his lantern. The watchman asked, "Was her face like this?" and turned, holding up his lantern to reveal his own lack of a face. Emmy screamed at the end and then giggled. People must have been easier to scare in the old days, Hero observed. True, Friday the 13th Part 1 is tame by today's standards, and don't even get me started on Children of the Corn. I've never seen either of those, Hero admitted. Doesn't matter, neither of them are any good, Emmy said. And then she was on his lap and kissing him hungrily. Hero untied her hair. She stopped to breathe. Hiro-chan, do you believe in the gods? She asked suddenly. I guess so. I mean, I never met one before, but I think there's too much order in the universe for us to be alone out there in space. Good, because the Moon Princess told me to take extra good care of you. What does that mean exactly, Emi-chan? I think it means give you all the things that make you happy. And with that, she pulled his face into her bosom. After a few minutes there, Hiro pulled away and asked, Can we just cuddle on your bed? Okay. So they relocated to her bedroom, and her radio started playing a song by Peppermint Sisters. Shin loves this group, Hiro said. Sorry, Amy replied, and pushed some buttons on a remote control, and now it was playing softer, mellower music. This is Tangerine Dream. I predict you'll love them, Amy said, and she snuggled closer, her yukata falling free and exposing her body. My demons like your demons, Hero, Amy said. Huh? Our baggage, it's compatible. You yearn for female approval, and I approve of you wholeheartedly. You're all mine. They were making love when the fireworks show began, and Emmy screamed, drowned out by the explosions. Hiro would never know that he wasn't her first. It was just like she had planned. Hiro slept at home that night, reluctantly, and he dreamed again. He dreamed he was in the dark, but he felt his bed. There was no moonlight, no starlight, but somehow he knew something was quietly creeping toward him. He thought if he could turn on the lamp, the light would banish the creature. But he played possum, feigning paralysis and fright. Well, the fright at least wasn't an act. Soft, soft footsteps. A hand trailing on the wall outside his bedroom. The creature was closer, closer, but he still couldn't see a thing. His door opened. Turn on the light, he willed his hands, but they would not move. Hiro-chan, came a whisper. He shivered. Hiro-chan. The voice sounded feminine, and it was no less frightening for it. Fur touched him. A furry body crawled over him. Hiro-chan, I need you, said the voice. He forced his eyes open, and his mother was laying on him. I'm hurt, Hiro, she said. He was alert now. I'll call 119. No, Hiro, hospitals ask too many questions. Call this number instead. Tell him Yokai Girl is hurt. He noticed that his mother was not fully human in shape. He saw a tail, and her hands had been paws. She was stuck between forms. He took the card from out of her paw, and he groped for his cell phone. He called the number and slid out from underneath his mom so that she could have his full bed to rest. And while the phone rang, he said, "Lessons I could have used." "Oh, bite me, boy. Now is not the time," she hissed. "You need help." "So do I," he insisted. "I ain't mentoring you. The mentor always dies." "If I get killed due to unpreparedness, it will be your fault," he said. "Hero, if you die young, it won't be from stupidity or uncalculated risks. Now shut up." He explained to the street doc what was going on. "I can help. My fee will be the usual," the voice replied. Hero relayed the information. "Fuck that! You owe me one!" Yokai Girl hissed. "I paid that in Kyushu," the doc insisted. "Damn, you're right. I'll write the usual." The doc hung up after that. "What can the street doc do?" Hiro asked. "He can get me normal." "I don't know how he does it. He's a he's a good gifted doctor. He doesn't mask, but he's got some kind of gifts," she explained. "You never asked him how his power works?" "Listen, Hiroi, you do not ask a super for the details of their powers. They will tell you if they trust you. It's a deadly world we live in, boy, and any weaknesses or limitations must be guarded. Got that? And don't ever tell me what your gift is, because we might be on opposite sides one night, or someone might torture me or something." "What happened to you?" "Taser. Messed up my nerves, and hence my control. Thus." She gestured at her hideous condition. "It hurts like hell, so if you'd kindly shut up, I'd take it as a courtesy." "Sure, Mom." Hiro met the street doc outside. "So, you mask too, kid?" "It sometimes runs in the family. Usually shows up around your age." "Yeah. My card. Only use it when you can't go to a hospital. I'm only one man." Hiro took the business card with thanks. It was made of some kind of metal. He put his hands on Akane Matsui, and 4 minutes later, Hiro checked, she was back to normal. "I'm a real MD too, so don't worry," he told Hiro. "You'll see my mask wallet account on the card there. I suggest you get yourself one too." Hiro nodded. PayPal for masks. He'd heard of it. "Well, take it easy and get better at avoiding those things, or invest in an insulated uniform or something." "I told you, anything thicker interferes with my shifting," his mom retorted. Hiro led the doc out and thanked him once more. "So, where does your uniform go?" Hiro asked his mother. "I told you once, boy. I won't tell you again. Do not ask about another's powers. Any knowledge can be exploited and can be taken from you. Learn the lesson. Good night, I love you." She added it almost apologetically, and she went to her bedroom. Minutes later, he heard his parents having sex, so he closed his door and laid down. That was how she kept his dad from asking too many questions. He wondered how much his dad suspected, and he wished, not for the first time, that he had a normal mom that he could have normal conversations with. And suddenly he started to cry. School was almost out for the year. They made their grades slip while they had been working on their gear and helping Shin build his first porn watches. Hiro was disappointed in that. Shin wanted to set up a smaller workstation in his bedroom, and no one had any objections to that. They brought a sewing machine to keep at Emmy's house, and Emmy taught them how to sew, but only Shin got any good at it. Hiro could stitch up a tear, and that was about it. He failed at making a pillowcase. Around that time, Hiro's morph suit arrived in the mail, and it left little to the imagination. Shin went in another direction with his uniform, using some clinging but sweat wicking materials, and then stitching safety pads to it. The third edition of Emmy's Wolfgal uniform was deemed acceptable. The other prototypes were ritualistically burned in a private ceremony that she refused to let them attend. Pivot's uniform included a utility belt made of an army surplus web belt and some hiking boots. They would get better stuff later, he agreed. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Between Shin's talents and his contacts in the maker community, they got fully equipped before their final tests for the year. They put all of their attention on studying for those tests, even putting their romance on hold. The night before finals, they took Higashi-san and their parents to dinner. Hiro's parents didn't ask where Shin's dad was, and it was a miracle Hiro's mom didn't make an excuse to get out of it. After this dinner, Hiro, Emmy, and Shin were on a group call on their computers. I've been eyeballing this PC store, Shin said. Good bargains? Hiro asked. Oh no, super expensive. We should visit it, Emmy said. We agree then, Shin said. After finals, we'll pay them a visit. I'll work on our itinerary. They ended the group call with Emmy flashing her breasts at them. Rewards for my hard-working boys, she said. As much as she enjoyed sharing skinship with both boys, they agreed to keep the heavy physical stuff restricted to one at a time in the future. It seemed to be better for their relationship balance. Despite their studying, they were all very stressed on finals day, and were relieved when testing was over. Shin showed them a sketch that he'd made of the store's layout. So we'll need to borrow your dad's truck, Hero, but we also need to find out how many things you can lighten at once and for how long, Shin explained. Right. And so they went to a construction site that night, and Hero practiced lightening pallets and spools for the others to carry. These were not very heavy to begin with, and there weren't enough laying around to make a good experiment. Desperate, they looked and searched. They found some bags of concrete mix that were plentiful, and they began to use these as their test materials. Hero carried a stack and lightened 4 bags each for the others. They walked in a circle for about 3 minutes before Hero felt his control slipping. When he let them know his control was slipping, they hurried to return the bags to the stacks. Each of those was about 40 pounds. Since I can handle reducing 160 pounds worth of 4 bags to more manageable 60 for each of you while carrying the full weight for my part, I think we'll do just fine, Hero said as he panted for breath, leaning against a concrete culvert. Emmy handed him a protein bar. He scarfed it down. My body says that it wants iron, too. I think maybe my strength is fueled by extra protein and my weight manipulation burns up iron. It's just a theory. Emmy began reading the nutrition information on their snack supplies. This nutrition bar has the most iron, but it still isn't very much, she said, judging it. Hero nodded gratefully and wolfed it down as well. Let's go get some Happy Burger, Shin suggested. Yeah, meat, Hero agreed. Emmy shoved the remaining snacks back into her purse and took both of her boys' hands. After they had walked to Happy Burger, Emmy declared, I liked feeling strong like that. I think maybe I'll start lifting weights too. I noticed that in terms of absolute weight, your weight manipulation is stronger than your strength, Shin observed. Yes, but think of it this way. I was lightening 8 things that are only slightly heavy, Hero countered. That is also worth considering, but even if you do get stronger, I don't think you'll ever carry a car over your head by brute power alone, Shin replied. Yeah, I won't ever be that strong, and thank the gods for that. I'd have to concentrate like hell to keep that restrained all the time so I wouldn't break stuff. Or Emmy. Right, a crushed pelvis is a real mood killer, Emmy joked. Shin nodded and resumed eating. They called it an early night to have their full rest for their job the following night, which was going to be Saturday. As Hero lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he thought that a nice poster up there would be cool. Maybe a big blown up photo of Emmy. They'd get the top of the line computers, and then they would sell extras for big cash. First thing he'd get is a fancy protective set of goggles so that he wouldn't have to use his swimming goggles for mask work. Then a nice bikini for Emmy, and they'd go swimming after hours, all alone. There at the pool, they had a sunroof, and it would allow moonlight in just as well, and it would be so romantic, he was certain of it. And a video game as a gift for Shin. Why not? The fateful night came. Pivot, Craftsman, and Wolfgal piled into Goro Matsui's pickup truck and drove to Hot Zone Computers. Craftsman at the wheel. They parked down the road a bit from the store's entrance. I'll need to disable the cameras. I'm telling the server that it's just scheduled maintenance, reboot, and software update, he said as he worked with his laptop on the dashboard. Get yourselves ready. Pivot and Wolfgal got out and watched for his signal. Craftsman pointed, and they ran to the door. Craftsman watched his monitor for another 2 minutes to be sure the program was running and jogged to join them. Wolfgal held the auto pick against the lock. Hurry up, she urged the device. Finally, the lock clicked and Wolfgal kissed the aluminum cylinder before tucking it away in her belt pouch. Okay, remember to go straight for your target. No checking the scenery, Pivot ordered. They each went to their designated areas. Tablets for Wolfgal, laptops for Craftsman, and computer towers for Pivot. Everything was going according to plan. And then that overweight mask with the stars on their uniform waited by the doors. Hi, he said cheerfully. I'll take one of each or I'll ruin your entire haul. The fuck are you, Starboy? Craftsman demanded. I'm Entropos, master of entropy. I can make each and every one of those sophisticated and complex devices break just by thinking about it. And unless you pay up, I will. Kick his ass, Pivot! Wolfgal shouted. Pivot set down his stack and ran at the mask. Damn it, Pivot, we could have had a deal! Entropos shouted, and then he pointed at him. Pivot's boots came untied and he fell. He kept his concentration, though. Wolfgal and Craftsman shoved by Entropos and hurried to the truck. Pivot rolled to his feet. Now I'm really mad, asshole, Pivot shouted. He increased his own weight, and he lightened Entropos. Say hello to Death for me. I hear she's cute. And Pivot wound up for a punch right at Entropos's belly. But the coward turned tail and ran. Hey, fuck off, you vulture, Pivot yelled, and then hurried to tie his laces. Bastard! He picked up his stack and walked to the truck. Wolfgal was chasing Entropos. Leave him, we gotta go, Craftsman shouted. taking taking a box from the top of Pivot's stack and running to the truck. Wolfgal howled, "You're mine, Piggy! My fangs will find you! Arroo!" And then she sprinted back to join her partners. Pivot noticed she wasn't wearing a bra. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Pivot, wake up! Right, right. He climbed into the truck and held the door open for Wolfgal. She vaulted over the tailgate instead. "Drive!" she shouted. Pivot shut the truck door, and Craftsman sped off into the Yokohama night towards their workshop hideout. Man, can you believe that in Tropos? Our first job, and already we have an arch, Pivot growled. Yeah, fucking vulture. How did he know where we'd hit hot zone? He was probably camped out for nights, just waiting. Or he has surveillance, Pivot suggested. They took their time unloading and took inventory while Hero unmasked and ate. You were awesome, my darlings, Wolfgal declared. Craftsman pointed at her chest. She paused and tucked. I felt the draft, but I ignored it. Remember double-sided tape, she said. And then Wolfgal kissed each of them and pressed close. Ah, I'm so hot right now. We did it perfectly, she said afterward. Shin paused in his examination of the tablets. How hot? Love Hotel hot? Right here hot? Or tomorrow night hot? He asked. Wolfgal licked her lips. Right here hot. But Wolfgal, the one-on-one rule? Hero asked. That's Emmy's rule. My rule is both of you are my mates and I want it now, she said, and pulled down her panties. Whoa, Wolfgal has furry panties, Craftsman said. Yeah, you can see them any time you want, Craftsman, but right now I have needs. They stopped everything to take care of Wolfgal's needs. She kept her mask on, but Shin took his off, just as Hero had done. She whispered rather than screamed, but at the end she let out a howl. Hero and Shin howled too. It felt right. With an arm around each of them, Wolfgal sighed and breathed heavily. I came so many times, she said. We need to plan for this in the future. Oh, and next time keep your masks on when you fuck your wolf, she ordered. Yes, darling, they said in unison. Good boys. Back to work. Wolfgal needs a rest. And she climbed atop a work table to lay down and curled up. So they got back to work, checking their goods. Wolfgal snored. She's asleep? Damn, we are good, Shin joked. Hero chuckled softly with him. All of their stolen electronics were in perfect working condition. So your guy can buy all of them as a lot? Hero asked. Yep, we won't be getting retail, but we'll come out just fine. Sweet. Do you own the Camp Nightmare video game yet? Nah. Good, I'm buying it for you. Thanks, bro. No prob. Hero picked up Wolfgal's furry panties, and he set them down beside her hand. He stroked her hair. We've got a precious thing, Hero said. I know. They hugged each other. We gotta pin her down somehow. If she leaves, I'll die, Shin said. She won't leave, bro. I hope you're right. They separated and then boxed everything back up. Wolfgal, time to go, Pivot said with his mask firmly in place. She snorted. What? I'm awake. Put your Wolfgal panties back on, darling, Craftsman said. Right. We did the nasty in the shopsy, she said in English, and then giggled, pulling her panties on. before hopping down to the floor. She fixed her skirt and let out another yawn. Who wants to spend the night? Me, Craftsman said first. Pivot frowned. He won. I can tell you're frowning behind your mask, Wolfgal said, and kissed his lips through the fabric of his mask. I like that, she added. Oh, I want all sorts of stuff with your mask on next time, Pivot darling. But you, with your visor and stuff, I can't kiss that, hot though you are, Craftsy. And then she giggled again. Do the nasty with my Craftsy. She's punch drunk or something. Let's go, Craftsman said. They locked up shop, and Pivot dropped them all off at Emmy's house, and then he refilled the gas tank before returning home. Sex with Wolfgal and Shin had been really good, he decided, and he wondered what it would be like with just Wolfgal. In the living room, he saw his mother was drinking, and she was wearing her bathrobe. Well, I had a feeling, she said, looking at his uniform. Welcome home. Pivot, was it? Yes, I'm Pivot. She nodded. Sit down, she invited. He unmasked and sat down beside his mother. Hiro-chan, you know how dangerous our lifestyle is, right? I've been hospitalized. I've lost friends to the night, as we call it. I'd rather not bury my only child. I'm careful. We plan and we don't take wild risks. What do you do with guns? She asked. My power makes guns almost useless, he replied. Well, you know I shapeshift. Using few words, what do you do? Strength and weight control? Ah, so. Can't lift, can't shoot, eh? Right. Two powers. Good. What about your partners? You said we. Wolfgal has reflexes and fangs. Craftsman makes things. Good. No one is a load. Load? A burden. You know, a useless gift like being able to eat wood or grow feathers. Those exist? Yeah, we call them the unfortunate. There's a pop singer who can make colored lights. She's a real unfortunate. Can't even strobe to mess with people. Just blink like a traffic light. Well, it makes her shows cool, I bet. Yeah. Good night, son. Good night, Mama. And he gave her a kiss on her forehead for good night. Don't, she said. Your breath smells like pussy. In fact, just never kiss me. Hiro nodded, blinking away sudden tears, and went to put his uniform away and brush his teeth and gargle. His breath smelled like pussy? He leaned over the bathroom sink and suddenly sobbed. His mother had rejected him again. Well, fuck her. He didn't need her, but he did. He needed his mama. He dried his face with a hand towel and hurried to bed. He crashed. As time went by, he read a second manga from his English teachers before the year was done, and Fuyutsuki sensei told him, I hope you will continue to work hard on your English next year, Matsui. He nodded, and he shook hands with them both. There in homeroom, they had a small celebration. Now, test results will be posted today at 1500, and until then, relax. You earned it. Congratulations. And they drank soda, ate junk food, and listened to Peppermint Sisters. Almost everyone sang along when Courage Take played. It was the most unified they had ever been as a class. Cheesy as it was, a bubblegum dance club song had been a bonding moment for them after enduring their end of year testing. Motomiya gave Hiro and Shin origami cats that she had made. Thank you for being good neighbors, she said, and bowed. Hiro was taken aback by her actions. He'd spoken maybe a dozen words to her all year. Thank you, Motomiya-kun. Good luck, he said. Emi sat down atop Hiro's desk and began to brush her hair. Motomiya-san, do you like horror movies? She asked. Oh yeah, especially ghost movies. My boyfriends, Shin and Hiro, took me to see that darned undead janitor. It was spooky and funny. Maybe you would like it too. Maybe. Then Motomiya said, Inukawa-san, are you planning to do much more fighting in the future? Well, if I have to, but I won't go looking for trouble, Emi said with a laugh. The shorter girl laughed too, and then Emi retied her hair ribbon. I don't like fighting, I've discovered, Emi said. The wolf inside called her a liar. The wolf said, You don't like ugly girls crying in the dirt who used to be your friend. Fighting, challenges, those excite you and you like them. The wolf was very persuasive. Again, she felt like this was becoming an upsetting trend, but Emmy smiled. Emmy said with a smile, I much prefer having friends to enemies. And she went on Twitter. Pivot had posted that he was arching in Tropos. Wolfgal tweeted, That vulture in Tropos had better look out for me, too. I don't tolerate vultures trying to steal our prizes or our pay. Hashtag watch your back. After school, the buyer drove to the shop to check the goods. The boxes have been opened solely to ensure quality, Shin said, and Pivot nodded. The buyer inspected a few of them briefly. All right, we have a deal. 800,000, he said. The deal was 900, Pivot said. We kept our part. Yeah, but I have the money, and you're nobody, still making your names, the buyer countered. Pivot growled. We can make our names on you. Want your name in the news, pal? The buyer scoffed. Furious, Pivot burdened him with more weight than he had ever done before. More than 200 pounds. The man fell down on the Duracrete pavement. Don't play games, Pivot yelled. Let me go, please, the buyer gasped. 900,000, Shin said coldly. 850. Hard to breathe. Pivot, said Shin. Release our friend, please. Sure thing, Craftsman. We treat our friends well, Pivot agreed and released him. The buyer gasped and coughed in the dust and then pulled himself to his feet. He pulled a revolver. Pivot burdened it. Hey, okay, just testing, the buyer said, stumbling to hold his now incredibly heavy gun. Second dirty trick. I don't think you're our friend after all. We'll need you to post that money to my mask wallet right now, or Wolfgal collects one of your eyes, Shin warned. Who the fuck's Wolfgal? But then Wolfgal was behind him, a steel claw very near his eye. Hi, I'm Wolfgal, and dirty dealers and double crossers make me go crazy, she said cheerfully, and then she put her war teeth around the back of his neck. Right, 860, get her off me. Wolfgal released him. Pay the man, friend, she said, keeping her fist and the claw near his eye. He holstered his gun and pulled out his phone very slowly. He sent the money. You're getting a very good deal. Now you know you're dealing with professionals, Shin said, checking his mask wallet. 860,000 yen transferred in. Pleasure doing business, friend. Wolfgal, kiss our friend goodbye. Pivot, please deliver his goods, Shin said, smiling. Wolfgal pulled her hand away and gave him a peck on the cheek. I really would have collected your eye, you know, she said, and moved to stand next to Shin. Pivot stacked all the boxes and carried them as one load to the waiting van. He neatly arranged them one by one inside. Professional, Pivot said. We'll demand respect next time. No more deal breaking or else pain. Right. We're friends, and friends respect each other, the buyer replied, then closed his van and drove away. It is indeed dark times we live in when you can't even sell stolen goods without coercion and the threats of violence and dismemberment, Shin tisked, shaking his head. They closed up shop. See, me hiding wasn't paranoid at all, Wolfgal said. You lost the bet. What was it for? It was a gentleman's wager, and as soon as I find a gentleman, he's all yours, Shin replied. Where can I find a gentleman in 2024 Yokohama? Wolfgal complained. Might as well ask for a virgin mask. You took the wager, Pivot said. Let's get out of here and eat some overpriced food. Texas Roadhouse it is, Wolfgal agreed. They got a few looks there on the train, but a couple of masks wasn't really a big deal. Craftsman left his helmet on a hook beside hats and umbrellas near the door. They toasted each other with apple juice. It wasn't until their meal was over that they learned Texas Roadhouse did not accept funds from mask wallet transfers. Craftsman groaned loudly. Is it not the 21st century? Fine. My partners will wait here, and I'll go to an ATM and come back with the cash. Wolfgal looked down at her feet. I'm embarrassed, Pivot. It will be fine, Wolfgal. Craftsman will be back. In the meantime, leave a review complaining about it, Pivot said, holding her shoulder. Yeah, well, I guess we need to always have cash on hand, too, she said, tapping her phone's screen. After a few minutes, Craftsman texted Wolfgal. Where are you? I thought you knew that this was a code to Dine and Dash. Craftsman, we're more, not less, noticeable in uniform, you asshat, she replied. A few more minutes later, Craftsman came back and paid the hostess. Back on the train, Wolfgal was shaking. I was mortified, darling. You just ran off and left us there, being judged. I'm sorry, darling. We don't want to be known for not paying what we owe, right? Craftsman said. Pivot put an arm around her. We all learned today. Never dine and dash, and always carry cash. We'll make it a rule, Pivot said. Yeah, rules of survival, Wolfgal added. Rule number 1, don't embarrass your girlfriend. I said I was sorry. Shit. Craftsman walked away to another train car. He just left? Wolfgal asked. I was annoyed before, but now I'm furious. Her war teeth sprang out. I'll punish him. Easy, you're frightening the mundanes, Pivot said. Her teeth retreated. Sorry, darling. I get it. I'm upset too. He'll mellow out and he'll be back. Well, maybe I'll still be mad when he gets around to caring again. Darling, he cares. He just felt like you were rubbing his nose in it, and he wasn't going to take that. He loves you. Yeah, I was being mean. They met Craftsman at the platform. He held out his arms, and Wolfgal ran to hold him. I don't want to fight, darling, she sobbed. I don't either, Craftsman said. Pivot hugged them both briefly. All right, let's get out of the station and go de-suit, he suggested. Later, they were sitting around Emmy's room in their casual clothes and discussing the job. Man, that collecting eyeballs thing can be really scary. I think you should stick with that, Hero said. Emmy giggled. If I really did pop out somebody's eye, I'd probably throw up and apologize. I'm relieved to hear you say it. I'd probably puke too, Shin replied. And time went by. They kept on small jobs, but started to buy better things. And then Shin had his small workbench in his bedroom. Turns out they had passed their finals, and Hiro had to work more now that school was out. Summer was the busy season for the pool. He bought new boots that were buckled, and Entropos started to get notorious for swooping in and stealing other masks' money and loot. Hiro hated him more and more. Shin began planning their biggest score yet, a shipment of microprocessors. The cargo was stored in a secured shipping connex that had vault-like doors. They'd have to blast it. They had a new buyer arranged, but they would still do business with Person-san occasionally, since he had learned respect. And this was going to be their most involved job. They studied the maze-like stacks of connexes and freight cars, memorizing the course they would take. So I've got some sleepy gas pellets for my paintball gun, and this time we'll all go in together, Shin said. The big night came. Their approach was blessed by a god-awful storm. Thunder rolled like several gods were having a bowling tournament. Lightning obscured them and fouled up any and all cameras. Except for the water pouring all over his body, it was perfect. Pivot was glad he was still wearing his swimming goggles. They stacked behind Craftsman, and Pivot pulled his mask up over his mouth. I am drowning in my mask. This might be a two-edged sword, he screamed over the thunder. We're almost done, bro. Fire in the hole, Craftsman yelled, and pulled the ring on the single-use detonator. They covered their ears and opened their mouths for the shockwave. Even that explosion was muffled by the storm. Pivot and Craftsman suddenly felt awful pain in their lower backs, and they fell. Craftsman looked up to see Wolfgau's skirt as she walked over them to steal their score. What? Why? He stammered, and then he lost consciousness. Pivot dragged himself over to shield his best friend. Their blood mingled in the rain, and the last thing Pivot saw before the darkness took him was Wolfgau walking away. She did not turn back. She did not hesitate. His last thought was, what could she be thinking? They woke up in a hospital room. Hiro noticed the restraints on his wrists, and he pulled, causing the gurney to shake. He grunted and he strained, but he had no strength. Stop it, bro. Even if we get free, we're in a hospital. We don't hurt doctors and nurses, pregnant ladies and new babies. And Shin began to sob. You all right, Shin? No. She stabbed us in the back and left us to die. And now I'm on some narcotic painkiller and my feelings and thoughts are all weird. And Hiro cried too. She was our one and only. We're nothing again, he said. Oh, don't you say that, Hiro. She didn't make us who we are. Okay, she did come up with the names, and she gave us great sex, and she smelled like an angel mermaid, but we're too strong to fall apart. Shin screamed in anguish as the tears poured. "A- Amy!" And then a nurse burst in, followed by a police officer behind him. "Hey guys, calm down. You're okay. You lost blood, but your organs are fine, and those restraints are for your safety," the nurse said. Hiro sobbed. "Can we promise to behave ourselves and get them taken off? We're just 16, sir." The nurse looked at the policeman. "Promise," the officer said. "Promise to be compliant and cooperate." Hiro and Shin nodded. "Okay, guys. You have IV needles in your arms. Move carefully," the nurse said. "Now, my name is Genjuro. I'll take off the restraints." "Can we call you Gen?" Shin asked. "Sure," Gen replied, and he removed the restraints. "That's better, right? Officer Yamada here has questions. Are you ready for that?" They nodded. "Names?" "No, sir." Yamada frowned. "What are your names, please?" "No, sir. The Mask Act. A superpowered person is not required to disclose their legal identity unless they have been charged with a crime." "Are we under arrest?" Hiro asked, wiping his nose. "What about your hospital needs? Dr. Ogumo and Nurse Gen can't help you without your medical information," Yamada asked. "We didn't commit a crime, sir," Shin said. "You were right by a destroyed Connex where expensive computer components were stolen," Yamada barked. "We didn't steal anything." "The thief attacked us," Hiro said. "Are we being charged?" "No." "Do you know the thief?" "A masked person. Sorry, we don't know their identity," Shin lied. Yamada cursed. "You promised to cooperate." "Officer Yamada, please understand. It was a bad storm. Visibility was poor, and we're inexperienced. That criminal beat us easy," Hiro said. Yamada nodded. "Is that your statement? You were attacked by the thief? Were you trying to prevent the crime?" Hiro nodded. "We don't hurt people. You can see our gear contained no lethal weapons." Yamada nodded. "All right, that's what I'll report. What are your mask names?" We'd rather not be known for failure on our first job, officer," Hiro said with a frown. "All right. Be careful and consider telling the police next time. We find too many corpses in costumes." "Yes, sir." Yamada left them. Nurse Gen checked their IV needles in their bags. "In a little while, our helper bot will bring in your breakfast. Do you need anything?" "A girlfriend? Do you have a cute sister?" Hiro joked. Gen snorted. "How about your glasses? Want them?" he asked. The boys nodded. He returned and gave them their goggles, and then left the door wide open. "We do need a new girlfriend," Shin said softly. "I don't know, man. We have porn in hands, don't we?" Hiro asked. "The real thing is so much better," Shin replied. "I know. Do you think she's gone? If not, I'll forgive her. I miss her so much right now." "Not me. Emmy can go to hell." "Don't you love her, Hiro?" Shin demanded. "She didn't even look back, Shin." "We are nothing to that psychotic demon," Hiro said. "She was our demon, though." Hiro took a big breath. "Yeah, and she stabbed us in the fucking back. She's not our problem anymore," Hiro said. "What will we tell our folks?" Shin asked. "We got attacked by a crazy mask," Hiro said. "It's the truth." "Yeah, the most beautiful crazy mask in the world." Hiro shuffled over and put an arm around his brother. "We're blood brothers now. You and me against the world, Hiro said. I ain't leaving you. She left us, your dad left us, but not me. Shin squeezed his arm. Blood brothers, forged in a storm, Shin said. That's right. A robot with a face that looked like a panda wheeled in. You should stay in your bed, please, the robot said. Breakfast is ready. You both have the allergy free, non gluten, kosher, sugar free breakfast multigrain toast, almond milk, and apple slices. Hiro returned to his bed. They thanked the robot for the food. You're welcome. Have a nice day, the robot replied and wheeled away. Hiro ate without bothering to taste his food. My strength is gone. I need to replenish what I've lost, I guess, he said with his mouth full. Shin shrugged. Or you lost your powers when you lost the love of your life. We'll never find another Emmy. Shin, we keep penduluming back and forth on this Emmy thing. We need to balance out. Is that it? Shin asked while grimacing at the food. I don't say balance necessarily, but stability. Let's just allow ourselves to be sad, and then we'll work on our anger and just not try to feel how we're supposed to feel and feel how we actually feel with no judgment. Agreed? So you won't judge me for wanting her, and I won't judge you for hating her? Right. Just let it all out, bro. So they did. They cried, they cursed, they prayed, and while they didn't feel good, at least they didn't feel like they'd follow her path to a mental health clinic. Not balanced, but stable, and that was good enough. Now that the police were gone, they told Dr. Ogumo who they were and agreed to let the receptionist call their parents. The doctor changed their diets based on their medical history, so now the nutritionists had them on the indiscriminate omnivore diet. Lunch was still hours away, and they were both ravenous, but they were not cleared to go to the canteen. Hiro said, Shin, use your powers to make that robot bring us some tuna or something. I don't have any powers, Hiro. Accept it, Shin snapped. I have an idea, though. Shangs. They deliver anywhere, and they take Mask Wallet. Oh, I would love Chinese. Even weird stuff like chicken feet or sesame fried scorpion, Hiro replied. We just need our phones, Shin said. Shit, why don't we have our phones? After hassling the charge nurse, they learned their property was being held to be delivered to their parents because they were juveniles. Oh, what a stupid rule, Shin complained after ending the call. Daytime television is a wasteland designed to numb and atrophy the mind, Hiro decided, and he asked Nurse Gen for a go board. They played two games, both won by Hiro, before Hiro's mom arrived in a business suit. Your mom called me and asked me to take care of you, Shin. She wanted to come, but she's very busy, Akane Matsui said. Shin stared at her. She was yokai girl. And then he said, Thank you, Matsui-san. Dr. Ogumo says you'll be released tomorrow. Here's your crap. She handed them drawstring linen bags. I take it Wolfgal betrayed you? Hiro looked around. Relax, son. I asked for privacy and invoked urgent family business. Yeah, Wolfgal stabbed us in the back, Shin said. Akane nodded. Well, you hopefully learned the lesson. Armor or vigilance. Pick one and never mask without it. For what it's worth, I'm sorry it happened, she said. Akane Matsui left the boys with some protein bars and sodas. Call me your Goro if you need anything. Shizuka will call you when she can. She said she loves you, Shin. and then his mother was gone. My mom's not busy at work. She's drunk. Yokai girl is a fucking liar, Shin said. Criminals are not to be trusted, bro, Hiro said, looking for Wolf Gal on the internet, but she was a ghost. He considered calling her, but decided her number had probably been disconnected. Your own mother, Hiro, Shin said. Yeah, my mother is heartless. It's time you learn that. Hiro, I know the two most important women in your life have basically rejected you. This does not mean you have to go gay, Shin said in an overly dramatic voice. Oh, that's a relief, Shin. Thank you. I won't have time to change my wardrobe. Shin was looking at a photo of Wolfgal lifting up her skirt to flash her panties. Do we have to delete all our pictures? He asked. That's your choice, Shin. I know I will, Hiro replied and began doing just that. But he couldn't bring himself to delete the selfie of the three of them by Hachiko's statue. Before Pivot existed, a simpler time. Shin couldn't delete any of his photos of Wolfgal or Emmy, even the photos of just her panties. He had way too many panty photos. Emmy still lived in his heart. Hiro got thoughtful. You know, the first time that we made love on my bed, I lightened her. She was on top, and I sent her face first into my ceiling. I lost control, Hiro said. I want to laugh. She did, after all, but I can't. Her goldfish are all already dead, did you know? She was so scared of overfeeding them that she forgot to feed them at all. The shrimp died too. Turns out they weren't a freshwater species, Shin said. She cried and cried over those stupid fish. How could she betray us? I can't figure it out. Hiro said, I just hope she had a reason. Any reason except insanity. Shin replied, for me, crazier is easier to forgive. If it's because of the crazy, then it's random and I can accept it. Hiro finished off his soda. If it's the crazy, the Emmy we love isn't responsible. And then he sobbed. One day, Wolfgal told me that she loved me more than Emmy did. Emmy told me she loved me more than Wolfgal, Shin replied. Was she playing a game? Lying to us both? No one is that good an actress, Hiro. Emmy and Wolfgal loved us. We may never learn what was in her mind last night, but you must know that her love was real. I can't forgive her, Hiro insisted. Well, we'll find out if she ever returns. The next day, Nagazawa Shizuka picked them both up and signed them out of the hospital. Thankfully, she was sober. Happy burger, she sang out. She held up paper sacks. Yes, beef, Hiro cheered. Shin couldn't muster the enthusiasm, but he ate gratefully. He felt like his mom had chosen booze over him, and he began to just stop caring about anything. Where's Emmy? Has she visited? Shizuka asked. Emmy's gone, Hiro replied. Oh, she's on summer vacation? She's gone away, and may never return. She left us, Nagazawa-san, Hiro explained. Oh, I'm sorry, boys. Hey, I'll take you to the park and we can watch the girls play volleyball. Monday is the men's day, Shin said. Oh, well, let's get out of here and then we'll think of something fun, all right? So they rode in her car to Hiro's apartment first so he could change. Both of his parents were away. His goldfish was eating the shrimp. Good girl, Natsumi, he said, and dropped a few flakes into the bowl for good measure. Hiro put on his jogging suit and stashed his uniform. It had been ruined by Wolfgal's claws. He turned to study his bandage in the mirror. Armor or vigilance? He chose both. Armor mesh on the back, reinforced with a plate. He put on his sunglasses and jogged out to rejoin the Negazawas. The radio was playing Courage Take, and Hiro felt his spirits lift with the optimism of the three singers. Hey, do you have anything by Gochan? He asked. Yeah, I have I Can Carry It, Shizuka said. My favorite album. She connected her phone to the radio, and Gochan's enthusiastic tenor voice floated through the storm clouds in their hearts. Heartache weighs me down, but I can carry it. I lost you, it hurts, but I can carry it too. Shin and Hiro sang along. I'm stronger than I seem, I can carry it. Watch me walk away, I can carry it. Shin changed into casual clothes back at his apartment. Hey, why don't we just see that new movie, That Darned Undead Janitor? Shizuka suggested. We watched it with Emmy, Shin said. Oh. Then she opened a beer. Hey, you boys can have some beer, hey? No thanks. Let's just take a walk, Hiro. Hiro followed Shin outside and down the stairs to the street. Let's go to the kombini and grab some jerky and shit, Shin said. Okay. At the kombini, Shin grabbed an energy drink, some chips, and he looked at the cigarettes. These ones smell like oranges, he observed, and he grabbed a pack. Hiro came to join him with some chocolate, jerky, and soda. Hey, are you 18? The clerk asked. Yep, Shin lied and paid for everything. Outside, Shin lit up with some paper matches he'd taken from the counter. They were advertising for a love hotel nearby. Hiro agreed the cigarettes smelled better than most. You ever think about Enjo Kosai? Shin asked as they walked. Of course. I get lonely and horny, and who hasn't thought about paid dating? Hiro replied, opening a chocolate bar. It's looking mighty tempting. An Enjo Kosai girl is honest all the way. Take her to a concert she wants to see, buy her some shoes. She fucks you, you both get what you want. Yeah, but it ain't love, man. An Enjo Kosai girl doesn't care about your feelings, Hiro countered. Fuck feelings. They get you into trouble. You don't believe that, bro. That's not you. You're right, Hiro. I worry that my mom is going to become a helpless drunk and we'll have to take care of the bills and shit. I got your back. I'll help, Hiro said. They hugged again. Remember, don't turn gay on me, Shin teased, and he snatched Hiro's candy bar and ate it around his cigarette. Hey, good stuff, he said, and passed it back. You couldn't break off a piece. You had to put your mouth on it. You fucking know how I am. It's yours now, dick, Hiro said, passing it back and giving a punch in the arm. I bought it, so quit crying, baby. I'm not crying. But then they both were. They pretended to be interested in a motorcycle in a display window until they had calmed again. Let's visit Higashi-san, Hiro said. Why? Find out if she left us a note to say goodbye. Okay, she deserves that. She was good to us. They weren't only going to say goodbye to the elderly woman, they both knew it. They took the train to Yorokocho. Eating and drinking, some brightly dressed girls came by to collect the trash. Hiro winked at one and thanked them. They smiled, but it was a my job is to smile kind, and Hiro dismissed the cute girl from his mind. Shin gave him a nudge. Hey, do you like that trash girl? She had freckles. I didn't notice, Hero lied. Every girl with curly hair or freckles is going to catch our eyes forever, aren't they? It's like an Emmy curse, Shin griped. And I'm going to date some petite petanco from here on out. You can chase big boobs if you want, Hero snorted. Don't act like you didn't prefer petite girls the whole time. You aren't making some change to prove you're over that girl. Shut up, Hero. I don't step on your coping mechanism. Like smoking? See? There you go again, judging me. Fine. No more judging. Good. They left the station and slowed down, really observing Yorokacho, stealing any memories of Emmy and putting them in a room with a big lock, and delaying the confrontation with Emmy's house. Still, they walked to meet it. Her small, unassuming house may as well have been some fortress of doom in a comic book. They approached the front door. They saw something. A package taped to the door. A card read Matsui and Negazawa. Shin pulled it away, and Hiro peeled the remaining tape off of the door. Shin opened it, tearing through paper. He found a letter and handed it to Hiro. He unrolled a cloth bundle. It was a purple and gray morph suit. Hiro read the letter. Dear boys, he began. Emi-chan has ended my employment very suddenly and said she was going on a journey. She made no mention of you, except to say that the strange suit is yours, Hiro-chan. She said the colors meant something. I left this in case she didn't explain it to you. I have been released as the executress of the Inukawa estate, so I won't have any more contact. You are both sweet boys. Good luck. With love, Higashi Natsuki. Hiro folded the note. She wanted me to wear her color, he said, taking the morph suit in hand. Shin found the door was locked. Well, say goodbye, Hiro-chan, Shin scoffed. He did. They threw the package and the letter away, and Hiro shoved the morph suit into his kombini sack with the rest of their junk food. Shin lit another cigarette. Well, we have no reason to return to this neighborhood, Shin said. Want to start any fires? That's not funny, Hiro replied. No, it's not. Shin inhaled shallowly and then took deeper drags of his cigarette. Hiro cleaned his glasses there, standing on the sidewalk, even though he knew he didn't need to. We don't belong here anymore. I can feel it, he said. They walked away. I kinda thought she'd be waiting, Shin admitted. Goes to show how crazy I went, huh? If you were Emmy, where would you go? Hiro asked. Stupid question. I'd stay at home, live on my inheritance and trust fund, and make art projects, Shin replied. Oh, and have lots of sex with my super hot boyfriend Shinichi. Hiro had to laugh with him. I'd go to Okinawa and swim in the ocean all the time. You sure you aren't part mer? Who knows? Maybe my mom is a shape shifting mermaid. Hmm. Women that beautiful shouldn't be that cold. That's my mom. Shut up. Not my fault she's beautiful. They made their way back to Shin's apartment. Hiro saw that Shizuka was drinking water, and Shin visibly relaxed. Where did you go, boys? She asked. We went to say goodbye to Emmy's caretaker, but she'd left too, Shin said. Oh, that's unfortunate. Sure is. They went to the park after all. It was a beautiful day. And Hiro kept looking at that one tree, expecting to see Wolfgal jump down and run at him with her steel claws reaching. The tree did not have any surprises in its branches. This one time, Emmy was swimming and her hand smacked right into another girl's butt, Hero said. Hero laughed, but he just looked at the tree. Hey, let me see a picture. I haven't seen her in a long time, Shin's mom said. Shin pulled one up on his phone. Emmy eating french fries and covering her mouth while laughing. It was one of his favorites, so he showed it to his mom. Wow, that girl got cute. They wear sweater vests for your uniform now? In my day, it was still those sailor blouses. She laughed a little bit. Why anyone thought those uniforms were cute or sexy, I'll never know. The skirts are an attractive length, too. You mean short, right? Yeah. Was this more what you wanted today, instead of a movie? She asked. We really needed time to think, but definitely to not be alone. Alone would be bad, I think, Hiro agreed. And that night, wearing his new suit, Pivot burned his old suit. Goodbye, Emmy. Unbidden, the memory of Emmy holding up her mask right after kissing him resurfaced. Who loves you more, me or Emmy? She had asked. Come on, Wolf Gal, we were in the middle of something, Hero had said. Who loves you more? She demanded. Emmy, he guessed. Wolfgal smiled. You guessed wrong. She sing-songed and gave him another kiss before dropping her mask. Pivot looked at the gray stripe down his arm. Damn Wolfgal. It started to rain again. Pivot soaked it in, and then he got cold. He noticed Entropos spotting him and then running away. Pivot chased his nemesis. I see you, Entropos. We have business. He caught up to the overweight man, and Entropos kept throwing things into his path. Pivot just kicked them aside. Knew that he would feel it in the morning. He reached and he grabbed Entropos and weighed him down. Hi, Entropos. Join me, would you? Pivot said. I'm here, he replied. I want to hurt you bad, Tropos. Vulturing is bad for your health. And Tropos turned to face him. Oh, are there rules? Is there a referee? Wake up. Pivot, is it? Yeah, I'm Pivot. That's a stupid mask name. I'd have picked Heavy Load or Violet Presser. Pivot snorted. Way worse. Let me show you why, Pivot. He lightened Entropos, lifted him over his head, and then caught a shoulder cramp. Ah, shit! He dropped the man. Ow, my shoulder! Entropos grunted. I think you dislocated my shoulder. But he was moving around just fine. You did that with that cramp, Pivot accused. No, my power doesn't work on people's bodies, just objects and plants, Entropos protested. Well, the lesson is still in order, Pivot said, noticing his enemy was still lightened, and then he threw him like a curling stone. I see bronze. Bronze in the future for this young team from Yokohama, Hero joked, and then he ran after the sliding mask and punted him. Entropos landed in a heap. Victory, Pivot! He shouted. Pivot stepped into some loose gravel and stumbled in the wet ground. Didn't get me that time, ass. And then Pivot left after waiting to see that Entropos could sit up. He'd needed that victory. Once he got someplace dry, Pivot tweeted, Just thrashed Entropos. Hashtag you're welcome. He quickly put his phone away and Pivot walked to join a line of masks in uniform. He saw a sign that read, Ghost Alley. Pivot went on the prowl. Flirting, fighting, either would make his day. Turned out to be a nightclub filled with masks. An actual mask club. And then he saw there were people removing their masks to talk, people dancing, people eating snacks, and even making out. He would have to tell Craftsman. This was just what Pivot needed. He found a spot on the bar and ordered an energy drink. He surveyed the crowd some more, and then a man wearing armor approached him. New here? He asked. Yeah. Cool. This is a club with a membership option. You get a variety of services with membership. I'm listening. I'm Yamato Guardian, a do-gooder. Your name? Pivot. Bad guy. Heard of you from one of our fixers. You work with Person-san, right? Right. Well, we have other fixers and even contract lawyers. We ensure contracts are honest and adhered to. We've got private rooms. We also have mediators and arbiters. Rule number one is this is neutral ground and no hostilities are tolerated. Rule number two is no outing members or guests. What happens in Ghost Alley stays in Ghost Alley. Rule three is don't get rowdy. Hiro nodded. Membership is just 10,000 yen for life, plus percentages from contracts here and arbitration. Pivot just handed over a bill. Pivot, sign these forms and I'll be back with your ID card. Okay if we use your Twitter photo? Pivot nodded, and Yamato Guardian walked away with the signed forms. Pivot drank and then texted Shin one handed. I found a masked nightclub. They even help with jobs. Come to Ghost Alley. And he included the address. A tall woman wearing a tiger striped uniform and a ninja style mask approached him. Hi there, new guy. I'm Pussycat. Are you looking for a date? Forward, aren't you? He asked. We all are. Part of being a mask, no? What's your name? Pivot. Odd. I like odd. You want to dance? Yamato Guardian returned. Scat, he doesn't want your mess, cat. The armored man shouted and waved her off. What's with her? Pivot asked. Yamato Guardian only groaned. Let me guess. She's Enjo Kosai, right? No, she's just horny, but she gets infections a lot and she doesn't mind sharing. Yamato Guardian handed over a laminated membership card. You can get beer too. We figure if you're old enough to be a night warrior, you're old enough for beer. Night warrior? Pivot asked. It's old Yakuza slang. It covers both sides, so we use it. And we are not affiliated, by the way. That's a relief. I hate Yakuza, Pivot said. Well, some of our membership is tatted up and affiliated. So just be aware of that. Pivot put his card into a belt pocket. Shin texted him, Do I have to mask up? I don't think it's required, Pivot replied. Cool, I'll be down as Craftsman anyway. Pivot smiled beneath his mask. And then another woman came to see him. I like your uniform. It's simple. Some masks turn into peacocks, she said. Her uniform looked like an aerobics instructor wearing a rucksack. Thanks, I'm Pivot. Cyclone Yuri, she replied with a small bow. Are you looking for a partner? She asked. Maybe. My partner, Craftsman, will be here shortly. We can discuss, Pivot said. Ah, I only do duos. Trios or more complicate things. Sorry, we're a package deal. Cyclone Yuri left. Sheesh, do I have a sign that says fresh meat? Pivot griped. But just then, he saw a woman wearing face paint that made her look like a fox. Her hair looked like a geisha, and there were freckles on her cleavage. Sweet Mama Mercy. He was pulled to her, dodging around the other patrons, barely breathing, barely blinking. Was this Emmy in disguise, wearing a wig? Hi, I'm Pivot, he said. Of course you are, she said. You're beautiful, he blurted. Thanks. Have a good night, she replied and walked away. Kitsune Keiko breaks another heart, a voice behind him said. He turned but saw no one near him. I'm the intangible fantasy, said the voice. Look out the corner of your eye. And he saw a foggy shape. Hi, Pivot. I'm not invisible, but close. You heard the whole thing? Yep, I like to people watch. My gift makes it easy and safe. Are you single? Why, yes. Want a date? A woman? Pivot finished. Yes. Want to find out more? Pivot nodded. She faded into view as a solid person. Pivot noticed that her clothes were gauzy and almost transparent. He could see everything. You like? She asked. Pivot nodded. Come on, you can buy me a drink, she said. They didn't have a date so much as a trip to a private room and a quickie. They had finished before Craftsman arrived. Pivot decided he really liked it there. And Pivot felt rejuvenated. He thanked Intangible Fantasy profusely and bought her a chicken sandwich. She smiled and faded out of sight. One night we'll meet again. It will be a surprise, like this time. The mystery makes up for how plain I am. Pivot refused, but she insisted. No, no, I'm a plain Jane. I know it. But we had something magic and mysterious. And one of these times I'll be back, and you'll miss me, and I'll be beautiful in your eyes. She blinked into sight once more to give him a kiss and faded away, her giggle fading as she left him behind. What if I wanted you to stay, he whispered. You can't just fuck me and leave me. But she had. He couldn't catch her. She was intangible and almost invisible. Craftsman found him, and he was already smoking. Pivot smelled the orange smoke before seeing his dark blue uniform. Craftsman, this place is fucking magic. Every mask in Yokohama must come here. Craftsman shrugged. Seems cool enough. He paused. You just got laid, didn't you, Pivot? He asked. Pivot nodded. The intangible fantasy. She's amazing. Well, you're ahead now. I'd better catch up. Wait, I want to stick with you. Bro, I appreciate you feel needy, but I need to get Emmy out of my system. The best way is to clean my pipes. I'm going to find a nice girl, then we can talk. So Craftsman went on the prowl. Well, shit. So Pivot went to the dance floor, hoping to lose himself in the music and the crowd of weirdos who were so different, but so like himself. They were masks, and they all struggled with how to live, how to use their gifts, and most of all, learn who they were under the mask. The night gave, it took away, but it was theirs.